Hi there, my name's Chantal and this is Suzanne Otterson. We're here from the Geraldton Yoga Club. Today we are going to focus on a couple of postures just to give you some information, kind of detailed information about a couple of postures that you can try at home. And Suzanne's actually going to break down the posture to gear it to beginners and then advance it a little bit for those that have got a bit of a stronger practice, want to get more out of the posture. Just a reminder that we do run free yoga classes live stream every Wednesday at 5:30, and that's accessible on our Facebook page. And this is sponsored by the City of Greater Geraldton and Rio Tinto. All right, so Suzanne, shall we start with our postures?
Yeah, we'll get started.
Okay.
The first pose we're going to do is a child's pose, Balasana, and this promotes a sense of calmness in the body and helps to reduce stress, but it also has many physical benefits as well. So we'll get Chantal to start to come down on her mat. Her toes will touch behind herself, and then the knees will just rest there as I talk Chantal through the pose and offer you some suggestions. I'm going to keep my distance from Chantal to respect the guidelines. So at the moment, Chantal is sitting her hips to her heels. She will eventually come down into a forward fold, her head will touch the mat. But first we're going to ask ourselves in our bodies, am I able to take my knees a little wider? And this will depend on how your back feels. If your back has some issues, you may want to keep them a little closer together to protect the lower back. But if you feel comfortable in the hips and the back to take the knees wide, take them as wide as your mat allows you. And then we're slowly going to come down, belly down onto the thighs, or maybe just in between. The forehead will find the floor nice and gradual and soft. And we'll just relax here into a beautiful child's pose. A very common pose in yoga because the benefits are amazing. So during a class, you'll often be asked to come back to child's pose because this is where you're going to reset yourself, connect with your central nervous system, find that connection to your breath again, and then join back in whenever you're ready. But there is a lot of variations that we can add to this posture. Now at the moment, Chantal's hips are sitting beautifully on her heels, and she's got a nice compression through her ankle, her knees, and her hip joints. But some of us are going to have skeletal issues or old injuries that are not going to allow us to get there. So what you will do in the case of any injury or tension in the body, you can lift your hips up a little higher. That will give space around the calf muscle, where you might like to pop a pillow or a blanket there to decrease that range of motion, and that will allow you to be in the pose and get the benefits as well. Chantal can take her hips back nice and slow. Lovely. The forehead is connecting to the floor here, but some of us may not find the floor with the forehead. So the options here would be to patty cake the palms, or stack the fists, or a block or a cushion, whatever feels good for you or whatever you've got available. And then releasing that, Chantal will take the hands softly forward. So we're in a passive child here. And in a passive child, we're compressing the hips, the knees and the ankles, which is beautiful because we're actually promoting some beautiful lubrication in the joints here. It's really a healthy thing to do. We've also got a decompression of the spine as it's having space between the vertebrae. And that forward fold is promoting stimulation and detoxification for the internal body as well. We can also activate the child to make it a little bit more working in the body. So you'll simply breathe into your fingertips and allow the fingertips to grow longer to the mat. You might like to climb up onto the fingertips, and this automatically activates your arms, the shoulders, and you also get that beautiful stretch through the lat muscles on either side of the back rib cage. All right, let's reduce that now and relax into it slowly. When you're in your child's pose, your breath is a really important component in any yoga pose. So a nice deep inhalation, you'll feel the back ribs rise, the side ribs rise as well, the belly rise, and you feel quite puffed up in the whole torso. And then as you exhale, collapse everything back down, and you've got a beautiful connection through the whole body. So this is child's pose. It creates calmness in the body, helps release stress. So you can do this any time of the day, wherever you are. So be sure this is a must-go-to one and must-go-to pose. Highly recommend it. I'm going to ask Chantal to come out slowly coming up onto all fours. But what's going to happen is, being compressed in those joints of the legs, they may feel a little tight. So she might like to take the legs behind her and let the blood flow through the joints again. And this is a beautiful way to bring the joints in with reoxygenated blood. Then we're going to pop onto the bottom, take the legs out long. We're going to introduce a sage pose, which is a twisting posture, and it will promote a healthy spine and also promote digestion in the body. So it's very good for any digestive issues as well. So you have the legs nice and long. You'll have a flexed toes. They will come towards your nose. And the spine is quite long. So you can breathe into the navel and lift into the length of the spine through to the crown. And then exhale, relax into your shoulders. Chantal's going to bend the left leg. We'll just do one side for time's sake. And she's going to squeeze the knee as close to her body as she can. She's a nice gap between her foot and her thigh. And from here she can progress with the arms, but we're going to progress with the arms as we come into the pose a little further. So the next option is to bring the foot on the outer thigh. So bring that over. So this is your second variation. The toes are still engaged to the torso. Beautiful. First option, we're going to work through the glute med and the IT band and just activating a little bit of rotation. So the crook of the right elbow will find the outside of the left knee, and your left hand's going to come behind you. Depending on the length of your arm, depending on how close to your body it's going to situate. So use it as a bit of a lever to grow longer in your spine as you inhale from tail through to crown. And as you exhale, let the crook of the elbow push your knee towards your chest, towards the shoulder. And you should feel that nice stretch. Always an option to look forward or take your gaze off to the side. You have to ask yourself these questions yourself. Does my neck allow me to move like this? Our voice is simply a guide, but you are listening to what your body's telling you. And then we'll continue to breathe in, growing from tail to crown, and exhale, maybe pushing the knee a little further to the shoulder or rotating from middle back. Option 2, to progress the rotation, we're going to inhale, right arm up to the sky. And the exhale is going to allow your upper arm to come onto the inner thigh. Beautiful. And that's going to act as a lever to get deeper into the posture. Chantal's fingers are nice and switched on, so they're quite alive. Her backhand is strong, giving her support. So now as she inhales, she's really growing tall, but the exhalation is coming from her middle back, her upper back, her neck, and her eyes. And she's going to continue to work with the breath in unison so that the rotation is smooth and deep, but slow and controlled in the body. Otherwise, we start to get jerky and we start to go beyond our boundaries, and that's something we really want to avoid. We're going to listen to the body, directed by the breath. And then as we inhale, we'll slowly remove ourselves from the pose. And just to unwind the spine, Chantal will exhale herself all the way over to my side. And she'll stay there for a few breaths just to reset. This pose is beautiful for detoxification of the internal body. She's got energy through the leg. She's also get that beautiful, healthy spine happening. And then she'll slowly come back to center. Release the legs. A little tumble's always nice here. So these two postures are something you can do at home. Hopefully that information gives you the confidence to practice them. And really add them to your home practice. Otherwise, you can visit us every Wednesday at 5:30 for a free live class until we're back outside. Thanks for listening. Namaste.
Namaste.